Hello everyone, Nadim here with PC.Solutions.Net. So today I'm going to change things a little bit. We're going to talk about passwords. So let's jump right in. So we have a lot of content. So uh, what is your password? Is it something similar to this? So we're just going to go over some quick password fails and wins, right? So if any of these are your passwords, you're not doing it right. Right? All right. So now here's how to why passwords are important, and we're going to go over how to select a good password. So over 80% of all incidents are caused by bad passwords. Just the easiest, simplest thing you can do is have a complex password. First thing. Right? So we're going to go over some mistakes right now. So fail number one, you don't want to use a password that is similar to any of these. So simple dictionary words, you don't want to use those passwords, right? Uh, what you want to do is you want to make sure that your users are always up to speed on the current threats. There's always some change going on in the industry, right? So there are always changes. So make sure your users are trained. What I always recommend is doing regular routine training, and you can automate this. So it's not like something you have to manually do, bring somebody in and do the training. It can be done through videos, it can be done online, and then everything can be tracked. So automate the training process. It will keep your users ahead of the curve. Yeah, some more examples of some passwords. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Don't use any of these passwords, right? So one more thing you can do as far as password security is multi-factor authentication. So you should always have multi-factor authentication, or also called two-factor authentication, enabled. Now, this is absolutely necessary if you work in any kind of position where security is of any concern. A lot of industries that are kind of have government oversight, they will fail compliance if they are not using MFA or some sort of second factor authentication. So always make sure multi-factor authentication is enabled. It is so important that most providers out there are giving multi-factor authentication out for free. Like if you have Microsoft 365, you get MFA for free. A lot of vendors are doing that. Same with Google, same with Amazon. I mean, same with PayPal. I mean, pretty much every provider out there will give it to you for free, right? So yeah, none of these passwords, right? Superman password. I mean, come on. Yeah, no, superheroes, they don't make good passwords. Okay, so the other thing you want to do is keep a pulse of what's happening in the underbelly of the internet, right? The dark web. So keep an eye on what's happening over there. Are your credentials for sale there? Is there any chatter going on? So just keep an eye on the dark web and see what's happening, breaches. Now, one of the questions that comes in over here is, well, so-and-so user has not worked for the company for 2 years, so what? I don't care if their account is breached. Well, that's a red flag. That's an indication that something is happening. So even if a user is not with the company anymore, you want to keep an eye on the dark web. If some old users' credentials are compromised, you still want to take some action, and make sure, if a user is no longer with the company, if their mailbox has been switched to a shared mailbox, or if the account is disabled, make sure it really is disabled. A lot of times we see where, when we do an assessment, we'll notice that there's 10, 20 users that have come and gone over the years, but their accounts are still there. They still exist. And some of them with privileges that they should never have had, right? So that was real quick, what to do as far as passwords. So in short, just make sure that your passwords are not regular words, whether it's music, superheroes, whatever have you. A lot of the bad guys will do what's called a dictionary attack, and that's what they're gonna try to do. So make sure multi-factor is enabled. Pretty much every provider out there will give you multi-factor for free, so use that. Even better is if you have some sort of a centralized company-wide multi-factor authentication, so that way you can secure even entities that are not multi-factor aware. So for example, Windows login, a lot of users are working remotely. Wouldn't it be great if their remote login can be multi-factor enabled? I mean, think of the security implications. Think of how many times more secure that connection would be if the remote connection for users can be multi-factor authenticator. So that's it, real quick, short and sweet. It's something that you want to do is train your users, and training can be automated. It's done, via video and stuff. And no matter how you do the training, make sure and you track it. A lot of times I see where people are, saying they're training, and they have all these training resources, but nobody's keeping track of it. So nobody really knows if people are actually taking the training, if they're learning anything, because the end goal is not training for the sake of training, but the users need to learn some new concepts, some new skills, things like that. So until tomorrow, everybody have a good day, and be safe out there.